buying an album or buying a record was the only way to get the music. So people actually had to go out, buy a physical thing, usually be around, 10 to 20 bucks or something like that, and listen to the record. That's the only way that the music could be heard. So a lot of records got sold. And keep in mind, when you're selling records that are worth that much money, it's a pretty good chunk of money. You sell a million albums, and of course, you've made 10 to 20 million dollars total on that album, which with typical record label cut would come back around to about $1 million back to the people in the band to, split amongst them. And of course, you got a four-person band and you make $1 million. Well, that's 250 grand for each one of you. So that's a big deal back then. So records could make a lot of money and could make the artist a lot of money. And then everything else with the marketing, distribution, and tour support, that was all behind the record, and it was all about getting the word out about the record, supporting the record, and making sure you sold as many as you possibly could. So everything was centered around that one commodity of the record or album. And then, of course, you look today, a lot of the music that is consumed is done through streaming. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but you don't get paid a lot for those streams. It takes a ridiculous number to earn the same amount of money. Like 10 million streams on Spotify at the high end payout, which is $0.005, right? So basically, you're making a 20th of a cent for each stream. If you have 10 million, that's only 50 grand total for all of the streaming. That's it. And on labels, you still have a similar cut set up for streaming now that you did back in the day for an actual record. So you're still making the same 10 to 20%, and now there's less money to go around because it takes such a mind-boggling high amount of streams to get the same amount of money. And while, labels still provide everything else that we listed here, there's less money to go around, and the actual consumption of the music is not your main revenue generator anymore. And so that creates a problem when record labels are still taking the same cut, and you're going to sell dramatically less physical copies of an album, and most of it's going to be streams. You need to pivot and maybe ditch the label just so you can maintain as much money as possible for yourself, so that you can continue to have a sustainable career as a band or an artist.